Hello and welcome to your weekly show here on Four Lads Had a Dream. My name's Andrew and I'm joined this week by three of my very favourite podders. First of all, Shona, how are you doing?
Not too bad. I think the weekend just got over that crap at the weekend. So, yeah, here we go.
We do indeed. Second of all, Kenny.
Hi, Andrew. Hope you're well, buddy.
I'm very well, Kenny. But we're going to have to talk about Rangers, so that might go down a bit. And last but certainly not least, Stevie, how are you doing, my man?
I think it's hilarious. Remember, we started this podcast, everyone was so cheery and so bubbly, and yeah, Kenny, great to be here. Shona, yeah, can't wait to talk about the weekend. Now everybody's just like, this is crap. Let's get it over and done with. So, nice and cheery, folks. We're here to talk about Rangers. Big build up to the Cup final. It's going to be good.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll do my best to try and keep us vaguely optimistic at least. That's what I'm here for, to give you that sunny disposition. I think that probably helps that I'm not in Scotland and I don't get exposed to what I'm sure was a very pleasant news week for you guys this weekend and Monday. So let's get right into it. Rangers closed off their league campaign with a fairly disappointing 3-3 draw with Hearts. Started poorly, ended poorly, had a nice bit in the middle there where we were winning 3-1 and looked fairly comfortable. And then, Rangers unfortunately did what Rangers normally have been doing this season, which is shoot themselves in the foot. I'm not going to go through, bit by bit the game in detail, but it's worth saying, Shona, we probably saw, and I do hate to do this to you, we probably saw one of the worst performances from Cyril Dessers. I think this is what his critics point to as the kind of game that's emblematic of what he cannot bring to the team. We have praised him a lot, and you've had a fair few victory laps as well when he's popped up on match-winning goals. But it's fair to say that this was a match to forget for him.
Yes, it was indeed. I think that sitter says it all, doesn't it, in the opening minutes? And and it just capitulated with the amount of mistakes that we made within the game. I think with the Cantwell error in the middle of the park, just shows you, do you know what I mean, what we've been seeing all season this year. I actually thought that the McCausland goal was actually a really, really good goal. I think he took his goal really well. The way, obviously, the ball was up in the air and he managed to bring it down. And then he took his goal really, really well. It was a cracking goal. It kind of kissed the inside of the post, doesn't it? And then obviously you had the Cantwell goal, which was a really nice bit of build-up. I think it was Tav that played the ball towards Dessers. So Dessers did get an assist.
Yep.
So, no, and then obviously the third goal came from, I think it was Ross McCausland. I think it was Kieran Dowell and Ross McCausland. But look, it's the same old story this season where we have just conceded really, really poor goals. And both of them obviously were probably Tavernier and Ridvan's fault for the goals. So, yeah, I think we've got a lot to talk about. But, yeah, we should not be conceding goals like that. Gifting Shankland that goal to go over the top of Butland. Yeah. And then I think it was the one that came from a throw-in, which was even worse. I think when you're scoring a goal from a throw-in. And then the other one came from, believe it or not, the goalie punting the ball up the park. And it was a simple ball that we should have been able to defend. And it took one flick on header and there was the ball in the back of the net. So, yeah, I think I've been saying this for a while. I don't understand why. I don't know if this came from the Motherwell game, but recently we stand off players a lot, and it's standing off to the point where it's actually too late and the ball's in the back of the net. I keep saying this. We need to make a tackle. I'd rather Tavernier went in for a tackle and even try to attempt to get the ball than just standing off. So definitely something that we're going to go into this cup final is something that we're going to have to look at, especially with the likes of Maeda. I think he is their strongest player against Tavernier. I think he's caused us massive problems in all Old Firm games this season. And then obviously we'll have to look at shots from outside the box. So yeah, I'm sure the guys will want to have their say on it. But for me, the Hearts game, that was an absolute nightmare to concede those goals.
Yeah, Kenny, I'll come to you next. I mean, as Shona says, we had a couple of nice goals in there, but the defensive frailties, it's so obvious now. We've been able to predict it before, but it's the same kind of goals we're losing over and over again at this point.
It is. It just sums up the end of our season. A game that we're in pretty much total control of. 3-1 up, coasting. Could have scored more. and capitulate for no apparent reason. I just don't understand it. At my wit's end watching the end of this season, to be honest with you. I thought there was a few of them had an absolute nightmare. There's questions that we do need to ask about this cup final, questions that we won't get answered, I don't think, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I just can't understand why. I totally agree with Shona, put it that way. I can't understand why we're not tackling. The lack of tackles, the lack of commitment to go and win a ball is just so apparent. And yeah, I've got to be honest with you, Andrew. I'm really frustrated watching them at the minute. It's I don't know. I just find it one of those things that the manager said we were at the end of a cycle. I think I'm at the end of my cycle. Honestly, I really mean it. I can't wait for this season to end. Let's hope we get it. We finish it off on a high note. But looking to the future, Andrew.
For sure. We do only have one game to go, and we are going to talk about that a little bit later on. But Stevie, I wanted to come to you just to talk about what the manager said after the match had finished. I think he's been showing both in the previous press conference and then in this one his level of frustration with this squad, where they're letting him down. The stat that we conceded 3 goals for 4 shots on target is obviously not good. And to be honest, having watched those goals back, it's not on Butland either. I don't think any of those goals you pin on him. It's these defensive frailties that are happening in the build-up. What was your take on the match this past weekend, mate?
Just the same as what's been said before. It had everything that we should be used to by now. We don't start until we go behind, lose terrible goals after playing some decent stuff. And then it normally takes a half-time bollocking to get us going. Play some decent stuff, score some nice goals, should be further ahead. Don't lose goals that are an absolute abomination on the eye to watch. Players just blatantly lazy and just not doing basic stuff, which I can't accept. I can accept good goals being scored. I can't accept the basics not being followed. So I've got a lot to say that will upset a lot of people, but if we're being brutally honest, you need to ask big questions of this team in the run-in where it's taken 15 points out of 30. I think the manager knows that, and there's a degree of comfort for me that the manager has actually been able to see it, because I've said it consistently that I thought they were pulling the wool over his eyes a wee bit with their performances, because this is what they do. This is what this group have done. They've done it to Gio, they've done it to Michael Beale, and they're doing it again. And this is almost a carbon copy to what they do, and it's the same kind of leadership group and stuff like that, Andrew. So I'm sure we'll come to that in the wider scale of things. But if people are watching that game on Saturday and they aren't concerned by our captain's performances, aren't concerned by the defending of our left back, who, to be quite honest, we only like him because he's not Borna Barisic, and that's the truth of it. Our centre backs are just completely, well, we're down to bare bones, aren't we? And it shows.
Yeah.
The midfield, no leadership in there. And you know what? It's actually criminally bad that Ross McCausland is starting to hit his stride again. Fabio Silva, dare I say it, won't be popular, has actually looked all right in the last couple of games. Done all right at Parkhead. But it's not up to these guys to try and keep the ball out of the net. They're the ones doing it at the other end. And yeah, we can criticise Dessers for the weekend and the fact that he misses chances. It's nothing new. He always misses chances, but he still assisted. He still should have had a penalty. He's still doing his bit up front. Even, look, sometimes his finishing's horrendous. We know that. I think he's missed something ridiculous, like 29 clear chances. I've seen it today. 27. Through the tears of my eyes.
That was good, Shona. Like, not 29, 27, actually.
27.
Right?
27, 29. It could be 39 for all I care. But my point is that these guys are doing what they should be doing. If we score 3, you should be entitled to think we'll get the points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Should we be more clinical? Yeah, we should be more clinical. But it's just a repeat of the whole season. And as Kenny says, I'm pretty sick of it myself. There was a time there, February time, where it was looking quite good and we were quite positive, but that very quickly got drained out of us, didn't it? So I think there's big things for this team. To answer your question on Clement, Clement said what we want him to say. That is, it's the end of the cycle for this squad. I remember asking Michael Beale in the press conference after the semi-final defeat, the 1-0 game, where James Tavernier had made another mistake at the back post, letting Jota run off him, and the boys, Barna Barisic on the left, remember they all stopped and they nicked in, got the ball and crossed it, and it was just a catalogue of errors from everyone. Well, if you're paying attention, Tavernier done the exact same thing on Saturday at 2-1 when he let the boy into the back post. He done the exact same thing when Steven Gerrard was in charge, Mark Warburton was in charge. He's never going to change. And I just think what's happened now is people at their end of the tether with it. So there's huge questions. And my point about Clement is he said the right things, but I don't think that people will accept it being a bit part job now, Andrew. I don't think they'll accept, I don't think you'll survive that job if you keep certain players in there. And I'll be honest, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, John Lundstrom, Borna Barisic, Ryan Jack, John McLaughlin, Kemar Roof, these guys should not even be considered to be Rangers players next year. There needs some really, really big decisions surrounding them. I hear people say we need wingers, we need a player in every single position. So, and goalkeeper wise, we have Super Jack, but we're still going to need to go and get a backup for him. We're still going to need to go and get everything. So, listen, I'm in no mood to be charitable with anybody in this squad. They have shown us in the last 2 months what they are truly capable of, and they've shown us repeatedly throughout these few years. And I think there's an acceptance amongst this squad that second's fine. You see them posting on Instagram tonight and stuff like that about goals that they scored in a game that we've not won. Nobody cares, mate. Nobody at all. Rangers are about winning, and I just don't think they get it, Andrew. And we're in very, very big danger of me just ranting for this whole 30-minute pod, which I'm going to avoid. But I think we need to clear the decks. And the manager's right, we're at the end of our cycle, but go and make it happen. There's no more tolerance levels for the same stuff. If we come to August and half of the squad survived and the same faces are kind of still there and you're making excuses of saying it's okay, like Goldson and Tav are still here, but John Lundstrom's gone, it won't cut it.
Yeah.
Got them, got the squad and sort this mess once and for all.
That's it. We are obviously going to break down, I think, the season as a whole when we get past the final game, the Scottish Cup final. But I mean, some of the stuff you're saying, Stevie, is not new either, and it does reflect badly on the squad as opposed to the manager. Because Kenny, we've talked about it with previous managers on other podcasts. It's been discussed in the blogs as well, Stevie. So these are not new conversations, but it very much is that point where we've run out of road now for a lot of these players. James Tavernier, at a point in his earlier career with Rangers, you could excuse some of the defensive frailties because we had a more solid backline and because he delivered up front. The fact that he is no longer delivering up front and we do not have a solid defensive backline anymore, that's where the real issue is. And it is bizarre to me, but the fact that we can say that our attack is actually performing relatively well in comparison to the defence, when back in March we had the strongest defensive record in the league, it's just a damning indictment of how badly these players have allowed things to slip. So disappointing. But again, not something that is unique to this game, unfortunately. It is something that has been happening for a number of months now. So disappointing, to say the least. We've got a couple more points that I want to talk about, but first of all, Stevie, I believe you have an announcement about some new sponsors the podcast has.
Not new sponsors. Delighted to say that Rhino Express, Jim Murdoch and David Manderson over there at Rhino sponsored us this season, investing quite a lot of money to make sure that we were advertising at Ibrox Stadium, to make sure that we had levels of access that we hadn't had before. In turn, we were able to sponsor Ross McCausland, which we've seen his rise as a B-team player up to the first team, which has been magnificent. It was a bit of a bonus for us, obviously. We were able to meet him last week. Self and Shona went along to the player sponsor day. It was an incredible day. Jim obviously was there as well with Rhino. Got to meet a few of the players, got to meet Ross and just talk to him. And I'm delighted to say that Rhino have committed to doing that for the next few seasons as well for us. So that's massive for us. Four Lads isn't a money-making scheme, Andrew, as you know, because you don't get anything but virtual hugs
Correct.
for the work you do, and neither does anybody else, and neither do I. But that money allows us to support Rangers and put in quite a lot of money straight to the club to advertise and help and play our part in it. So Clydeview Joinery are also on board for sponsoring the podcast, which allows us to do what we do. And we have trialed it a wee bit, Andrew, I think it's fair to say. We have the last couple of months, but pleased to say that we're making some really big commitments to be bigger and better for the coming weeks and into the new season. Shona and I have been vlogging from games, which has gone down really well, which people seem to absolutely love. It's not so good for us, Shona, when, you know, we're commentating and Celtic got the park and score a third and that kind of stuff. But it has been good fun. These things will only grow. We've got more ideas. We've got more things we want to do. Kenny and I will be blogging. We're going to up the amount of blogs and things we do as well. So content, I think, for Four Lads will only get stronger from here on in, Andrew. And we've been able to do that because of the sponsors. Two of our major sponsors, Rhino Express. Again, big thanks to Jim and David and Ian, obviously, over at Clydeview Joinery. So it's absolutely magnificent, their support, and we look forward to working with them in the next year or so. And also, we're hoping to have the guys on regularly onto podcasts and things, so you'll be able to hear more about what they do, how they support Rangers, and how they support us. So big thanks to them, and you'll be seeing some of their ads and things on our platforms, and that allows us then, when you go to games, allows us you to see Four Lads sponsorship and other things, sponsoring players, maybe even sponsoring matches and stuff like that. So it's an exciting time for us, and we couldn't do it without our sponsors. So huge thanks to them.
No, for sure. Did you guys see as well, Stevie managed to make sure he got the badge in there as well? That was
good. Actually, it's in there, yeah, but
yeah,
I'm too little for my camera. I need a booster seat, so everybody knows that. That's why I want Ridvan to stay, because he's the only one that I can look in the eye. So I'm willing to look past these defensive frailties just for that bit. So
if it's him or Borna, I mean, yeah, obviously there's only one choice. Although I will say that Shona, your old mate, Rory Fraser, looked very, very good as well. So that was good to see. Maybe he should start left back. Let's talk about the cup final then.
Yay.
Yes. We obviously all have some strong views about what the team should probably look like. I think, unfortunately, at the moment, when we talk about the team that we have right now, we'd like to see maybe 90% of them gone. So that's not exactly ideal. We have the squad that we have, Shona. For you, what's the starting 11 look like come this Saturday? The
women's game's on the Sunday, I think, isn't it, Stevie? Yes. So Saturday, well, look, it's going to be a bit of Russia roulette, isn't it? Again, from Clon, who he goes with in midfield. I think obviously Lundstrom will be back. Would I be playing Lundstrom? No, I think I would be playing Raskin, Sterling, and Diamondi in midfield. Having Raskin sit back, and I would probably have Sterling on McGregor if possible. But I think the biggest thing for me is obviously Tavernier will start because he is captain, and it's all about Maeda, isn't it? Maeda and Matt O'Reilly, and trying to stop them as well from taking the amount of shots that they had outside the box. I think when Tav in the previous game was getting caught up the right side of the pitch, that allowed obviously Lundstrom to cover in at right back. Then therefore Diamondi was then having to mark Hatate, which left the space for Matt O'Reilly just to do what he liked from outside the box. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one for me. I think Ridvan would start, but whether he's going to be 100% fit, I think it'd be unfair to fling in Robbie Fraser. I think Robbie Fraser did an all right job. I know he made that one slip at the weekend there, but I think for me, I've always been a big fan. He has been the captain of the B team. He obviously, when we spoke to him, Stevie, didn't we? He is here because he is a Rangers fan and he wants to win trophies, exactly like Ross McCausland. He's got the right attitude. Same with Ross McCausland. I know people say that he probably isn't the most clinical of right-sided wingers, but he's got the right attitude to be at Rangers, and that's what I would like in the squad. I think we need more of these kind of guys. Do the likes of Cole McKinnon and things like that come in? I don't know. I don't think so. The biggest thing for me is the defence. Who's going to be starting in defence? Will Balogun be back to be fit? If Balogun's fit, he starts for me. He starts alongside John Souttar. But look, could you play Balogun out on the left-hand side if Ridvan's not fully fit, and then put Ben Davies out there, and have Suter to make it like 3 really, really big, strong defenders? Like that is a possibility. I would be obliged to not go with that. I think at the moment we need as many really tough centre halves in there for the weekend. I think for me, it's not conceding that opening goal, and that's the one thing that I've got the fear of, is conceding that opening goal against them. So, look, do we go with 2 holding midfielders? I think you're going to see what's going to happen up top. Seema's now back. He managed to get 30 odd minutes. He looked okay. Yeah, he looked okay when he came on. I thought when he came on, I know he was playing the number 9 role. That's not his normal position. I think Silva's had an okay couple of games as well, so in the past few days. So I think up front, you're okay with what you've got. You know what you're going to get with Ross McCausland, Silva, Dessers, and possibly Seema. For me, it's the midfield and defence, and I'm sure the guys will go into it, but it's the defence for me is a big worry.
Yeah, Kenny, I'll come to you. I mean, we've got a murderer's row of injuries at the moment, but from who we think will be available at least, who's going in there for you?
Well, I don't know whether I've got to the stage. I don't know whether I would start Tavernier or not. I've got to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Probably will start him though. Got to be again. You've got to be fair and say he's not going to drop his captain. I think I would be inclined to, and put Sterling there. That gives me the fear. Honestly, mm-hmm. I don't want to sit and be personal about it, but something snapped in me on Saturday watching that. I can't watch it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean, I can't watch the same mistakes. And Stevie pointed to laziness. I thought our captain was lazy on Saturday. I did. I actually thought he'd almost checked out, and it worried me. It really worried me for this game.
Yeah.
I would probably start Yilmaz if he's fit. Balogun and Suter with Butland in behind him. My midfield would be Diamande, Raskin and Cantwell, I think. McCausland on the right. I think he deserves his chance there. I think he's merited it with the form he's shown the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And I would probably be inclined to play with Silva and Shona's man Cyril up front. That would be my team, I think. But I'm the same as Shona. My fear is that big pitch at Hampden, and spaces that they're going to expose. So we have to find a way, because listen, just to explain this, when I say find a way, we are at a point where we are more concerned about what they're doing than what we're going to do, and that cannot be right. It can't be the way that we are, but that is the way I'm thinking at the minute. How do we stop them? And we shouldn't have to worry about them. We should be going out there and playing our game, because they're the best team in the country. The team that wins the league is the best team in the country. We can't deny that, but they're no great shakes, and we should have done much, much better against them over those games over the course of the season. And I think that's where the pessimism, I'm going to say negativity, but the pessimism is coming from with me, that I'm just struggling to see any evidence of, or proof that we can do something in this game. So go and prove me wrong once and for all. Prove me wrong on Saturday. But look, the team will come down to injuries. Who's fit and who isn't, Andrew. And I am a bit like Shona, as I say. I think Leon Balogun playing is going to be pivotal. Actually, I think it's essential for us that he does play, because Philip Clement has already said that, just on Saturday there, that Yilmaz couldn't play 90 minutes. I don't see him being able to play 90 minutes. Next week, he's been out for the best part of 2 months now, and just, slowly but surely feeling his way back into it. So, we need bodies, Andrew, and we need them all fit. So we'll see who's available later on at the press conference later on in the week, but that would be my team.
No, for sure. I mean, Stevie, I don't think you're going to say too many different things from the other two here. Yeah, I guess it comes down to probably those two key controversial players. Let's try and be fair in Tav and Lundstrom. Do they make the starting lineup for you? Do you think they would make the manager's starting lineup?
Yeah, they don't for me, but they will for the manager. I would go Butland and force the play Tavernier at right back, I think. And then I would have Balogun, Ben Davies, and Ridvan. I don't think John Souttar will make it. I think hamstring wise, I think he's done. And then in midfield, I think it has to be Sterling, Raskin, and Diamande, because John Lundstrom just doesn't have the legs. He just does not have the legs. And I think that if we're really serious about matching them, you have to put kind of pace and energy against that midfield. Otherwise, they will just steamroller you. And as Shona pointed out, the amount of chances that O'Reilly got at the edge of the area, and McGregor, by the way, had a few shots too in that game at Parkhead. We were lucky that it took them half an hour before they eventually took the lead, because they should have before that. And then on the right, Ross McCausland, the left Silva, and you play Dessers up front purely because he's last man standing. And to be fair to him, yes, he missed chances the weekend. He took the only chance he got at Parkhead, so we just need to hope that happens again at Hampden if we get the opportunity. But midfield, if we're going to be serious and give ourselves half a chance, Andrew, that midfield has to be athletic, it has to be mobile, and it has to be, Sterling plays on the right side of that three. He can cover right back, and everyone then shuffles across. And he's got the mobility to do that. And Diamande plays on the left side, and Raskin bosses in the middle. So Raskin would go up against McGregor, and then you're asking Sterling to pick up Matt O'Reilly, and you're asking then Diamande to go on Hatate. Now, Hatate's probably a similar player to Diamande, although Hatate at this point is superior given what he's already achieved. Matt O'Reilly's a big one, outstanding player, unfortunately for us, capable of shooting. McGregor is the same. If you allow McGregor to dictate, why he put Tom Lawrence on McGregor at Parkhead, it was just mystifying. Todd Cantwell doesn't start for me. I think he isn't the type of player that can play a rigid three like we need to be able to go against them. Would you have him on the left instead of Silva, and you could play Silva up front instead of Dessers, or would you have Silva on the bench? There's a slight option there, but let's be honest. Look, if we're being brutally honest, at the start of the season, nobody's selecting this group to try and go to a cup final against them. They're completely flying. They've just won the league. But I'm McKennie. Weirdly, I think there's chinks in their armour, so to speak. I think every game's been close. I thought at Parkhead, 10 men, they should have battered us, and they didn't. Ironically, we probably finished the stronger team. At Ibrox, 2-0 up, they should have slaughtered us. They didn't. They got pegged back. 2-1 at New Year against 10 men again. We still finished stronger. So I don't think that they are untouchable. They're a better team than we are, because the league table, like Kenny says, doesn't lie. They've got some outstanding players. I think that Maeda, O'Reilly, Kyogo can hurt us. But if we go behind and we play the way we do, giving them a 2-goal start, the way we did against them, the way we did against Dundee, giving Hearts a start, then you can forget it. It's all about how we start this game, and it's about who the manager selects as well. John Lundstrom isn't, by the looks of it, isn't going to sign a new contract for Rangers. If he is out and then go straight back into that team in that middle, we'll just get run over. So that's the way I feel about it. And I thought about that at Parkhead, and that's exactly what ended up happening in midfield. And I just think that, as Kenny says, Hampden's a big pitch as well.
Yeah.
There'll be lots of spaces for them to exploit. But we need to be better. It was so easy. It was painful watching them do wee triangles around us and watching people run out the back. And we need to be better. We need to be more organised. We need to be more solidified and harder to play against. How the manager does that with a squad and with the players that we've got left, I just don't know. Because let's be honest, nobody would have chosen Ben Davis and Liam Balogun as their starting two at the start of the season. Tavernier's so out of form at right back. As Kenny says, you probably wouldn't start him, but Sterling, you need to be in the engine room. Sterling's the only one that's capable of matching O'Reilly for me in pace and power and stuff like that. So,
Sure.
Listen, Andrew, it's not exactly pretty, is it? I mean, what are we supposed to say? I'd love to come on here and say, you know, let's go and take the game to them. Let's go and force them to play. Let's go and score the first goal. But there's no evidence to support that this group are able to do it. So we need to give ourselves the best chance. I would go young, athletic midfield. I would play McCausland because I think he's been good the last couple of games. I'd play Silva for the same reason. And then, you know, you've just got to hope that if they do get a chance, they take it, because scoring first is vital. And yes, we could still have a chance if we go behind, but let's give ourselves the best possible opportunity. I
just really like to start a game where we don't immediately concede a chance to the opposition.
Andrew,
That'd be a nice novelty, you know?
The last time we scored against them first, I think I had here. So it's just getting a bit tiresome. You know what I mean? Like, can we not just go and give it one last final hurrah for a squad, and then we can shake their hands and they can post on Instagram whatever shit they want, and we can all be happy.
That sounds wonderful to me. It's something that the players talked about during the 55 season, which was the last dance, which is something they'd watched, you know, over the course of, you know, that particular break and been inspired by. This is very much that for a lot of these players now. It's the end of the road for a lot of them. I think if they want to go out on a high, there are worse ways to do it than, you know, winning a cup that I don't think a lot of people have faith that they can win, especially given the cold together nature of the squad that we have right now. So it will be interesting. I don't think, and this is the final talking point that we want to get to, I don't think the manager's career is decided by what happens in this Scottish Cup final, barring, you know, an absolutely ludicrous team selection. But frankly, I think, and I've spoken about this before, I think this manager has done really well with the squad that he's got. It's obviously not a good season where we don't win it, where we don't win the league. But to put us back into contention after a fairly disastrous start, I think does deserve merit. But this is Rangers. If he gets off to a poor start at the start of next season, the credit very rapidly evaporates. It would add some credit to the bank if he does manage to get a win over the line here. We are obviously going to be talking about this game after it's happened. But before we do that, let's talk about the pie of the month. Stevie, who are our entries?
Still ongoing, Andrew. We're going to keep this one going until after the cup final. So,
okay.
Pie of the month we are looking for. We've had a few good entries. Michael Stewart just features in absolutely everything, I think. And there's been another few entries as well. So, get them into us. That's all you have to do. Who's been your standout pie of the month for in Scottish football for this last month or so? We've had a few referee nominations as well. Some of the decisions, by the way, that we had on Saturday and during the midweek against Dundee were pretty criminal, but it is what it is. So get them in. What's the worst that can happen? You email in and we email back saying you've won a tray of pies. You know, so Karen certainly enjoyed hers last time. I'm led to believe that she really enjoyed hers. So get them in and we'll see who can win. And thanks to our friends over at Pie Sports for providing and helping us out with that.
Yeah. Remember, folks, you can use that offer code, the pod description as well. Just use 4 lads, get 12.5% off, cheaper pies. And hey, free pies as well if you get the winning entry. So we encourage you to do that. Folks, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Obviously, I wish it were under happier circumstances. But you know, we are with Rangers. We all know we'll be back next week because that's what we do. We're fans. Despite how annoyed we can get with them on occasion, certainly with individuals.
Some laugh when we win 3-0 on Saturday, innit?
Oh, no, it's going to be easy. That's what I've got bet on, Stevie, you know. Always keep the faith.
Especially when it's a Desperate hat trick.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Shona, saw an interesting stat. We have had no hat tricks this season in Scottish football in the league for the first time, for like over 50 years or something completely wild like that. So this would be nice.
It's not the first Scottish Cup final between Rangers and Celtic since 2002.
Yes, it is indeed.
And Mother Boy, Pierre Lovenkrands scored in the last minute, so that'll do me.
Shona, you sure can pick him, man.
I'd rather have Peter Lovenkrands up front on Saturday, to be honest.
Aye,
What,
now.
even now, yeah. Listen, folks, it's been a pleasure. We hope to be talking to you again. With smiles on our faces. Maybe apart from Stevie, because doesn't smile really ever. But
I'll smile when Ian Ferguson used to talk about how he drinks when Rangers win. Well, I smile when Rangers win. So I was happy during the 55 season.
Well, I'll hold you to that, Stevie, next Monday. I'm sure we'll have some stuff to talk about at least. It's been a pleasure, folks. We will talk to you again next week. Love to thank my lovely, precious to me co-hosts. First of all, Shona, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Thanks very much, Andrew.
Kenny, thank you, mate.
No, thank you, Andrew. I'm just going to go back and try and recover for the look in Stevie's face when I was 10 minutes late.
Disgraceful.
What a face.
The fact that, well, I know, but the fact that he was 5 minutes late and me and Shona were the only ones on time, I mean, hey, as long as you're not the last one, right? Stevie, always a pleasure, mate. And thanks again for joining us.
Always lovely to spend a Monday evening with you, lovely people. Can we not just, Rangers, can you just please win? Give us a few weeks of consolation, joy. We all want to win it. We all want to be champions. We're not going to be. That's fine. I'm not going to congratulate anybody else, but league table doesn't lie. Can accept that. But for once, could you just give me a happy Saturday night and just, I'm not asking.
It's been a long season, hasn't it?
Oh, mate, it's been a long 2 or 3 years, whatever it's been. I'm not asking for much. Just come on. You know what I mean?
1-0 win.
And the fact that we've been promised some good content afterwards. If we win, the site could be brilliant for content afterwards and things like that as well. So if they could just don't mess this up, it would be wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Imagine going on Instagram, Todd Cantwell, and saying the guy from Four Lads talks pish. That would be amazing. just go and do it. You know what I mean? Just go and make it happen.
If that's not a dream to want to fulfill, I don't know what is. Folks, it's been a pleasure. To everyone listening, watching at home, we appreciate you joining us as always. To the Celtic fans, again, I do say this most weeks now. You guys are helping us grow, so thank you. Please keep continuing to tune in. Comment as well. It always helps us. We delete the comments, but it doesn't matter. We still get good stats from the engagement, so thank you. Please keep doing it. It fuels us more than anything else. So thank you guys as well. We will talk to you again, but until then, bye for now. Four Lads Bite-Sized Podcast is proud to be sponsored by Rhino Express and Clyde View Joinery, certified fire door installer and maintainer. Also in association with Rangers Pools, Zenith Coins and Alexander Campbell Interiors. Please share and follow the pod to help us grow. We hope you enjoyed the show.